Hello everyone, in another episode of the Goodfolks podcast. Today we're having Ramy Zemmouchi with us. Thank you so much, man, for accepting the conversation. I'm so sorry for what happened last time.
No, it's all right. Thank you for having me again.
For the record, we recorded one episode with Ramy Zemmouchi once, but the audio was horrible, and so we had to do it all over again.
It's gonna be better.
How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. It's very good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. How about your show that you used to do?
It's on hold for now. Trying to think of new concepts, new ideas for the future.
Okay.
But it's doing well. I do sometimes some podcasts or invite some people.
Right.
Not for specifically the same thing I used to do, but sometimes when I meet someone interesting and I think really they would be great for the audience, I do that. But like something regularly, not yet. Not yet the new way that I'm about. And I would love to start again, maybe in a few weeks.
That's cool. And is it gonna be? Do you think? I know that you don't have a final idea yet, but is it gonna be the same thing in tech?
Well, it's gonna be a bit different.
Okay.
We might have, trying to get all different stuff, different stuff before beside the technology and startup thing, but also the way we present things. The few months, the past few months, especially since March 2020, started to create some good quality content, inviting very interesting people. And that was a way to see and to understand what the audience is interested in.
Okay.
And it was a first move to be able to know what would be interesting in the future regarding the content, the format, and stuff like that. And I think that it has been a great experience as a start for making better quality content and, delivering what people are actually expected and even more.
And it's so cool. Since you're you're in the front image when it comes to when people think about startups and tech companies and everything, not because you have your own startup or anything, but because you're passionate about that, and people can see that through the content that you create online. There is controversy or big difference regarding how people define startup. So I want to know, what is your definition of a startup?
That's interesting. Well, thanks for that. I would take this as a compliment. I always say that I'm no expert in anything. I'm not like someone who has special knowledge regarding this. What I think I do have is first the experience. I have been to many places around the world. I have been to tech events. I've been to many hackathons. More than 12 countries, 4 continents. I have met a lot of people. I have been here in touch with the ecosystem of the country, startuppers, incubators, the government, everyone. And I think that I'm trying to build an image with what I have seen abroad and what I'm actually living in Algeria. And I believe that, with all of what I have been doing in the last 3 years, I built an interesting network of very interesting people that I usually invite, that I usually get to. And what I can do best, I believe, is to when I'm having a conversation with someone very interesting, entrepreneurs, startuppers, ministers, and everything, I can try to get the best from them. And that's what makes the content interesting, is not what I know, but it's the way that I do for other people who are actually experts to deliver what they know. Now, regarding the startup thing in Algeria, as you may know, in the last 2 years, trying to have this hype of startups, of talking about this and everything. And the stars, we made a lot of mistakes. And when I say we, talking about the whole ecosystem, entrepreneurs, investors, the government, the regulators, they made mistakes when they just wanted to see this as a new way just to make the kids, entrepreneurs, young people interested in something. And then with the new government and the new startup ministry, they are actually trying to build things the right way. We wish them good luck. And yet they are, they're not doing things perfectly. That's fine. It's the first year, and actually we are about to enter the second year. And when I invited the Minister of the Startups in July 2020, we talked about that, and I tried to make sure to know exactly how they see things. And then we met many times, and I could have, had an idea about what they want and how they see things. So for them, a startup is an innovative company which has a huge potential of growth, and who can actually try to build its business model with time, adapt to changes and everything. almost
So
agree on that.
how do they measure that? First of all, when you say innovative, it means something that's completely new.
Well, that's the debate, and I have written an article on Medium a few weeks
Okay.
ago when I talked about this. When I made some kind of a controversy because I do not totally agree with the government regarding this, especially when it comes to innovation. D'ailleurs, the title of my article is N'est-il pas trop tôt pour parler d'innovation en Algérie? And I took this and I said stuff about what's happening now, how people are seeing and trying to build this new way of thinking that innovation should not be the priority in our country. And a lot of people agreed with me. Some people who did not agree, which is fine. I mean, like, it's just an idea. It's my opinion. I truly believe that it's not the time yet to be able to talk about innovation.
Why do you think so?
For many reasons. First, and I share almost everything that Peter Thiel says in his book From Zero to One. Interesting book, must read. It's like the Bible for startups and entrepreneurs. He thinks that our countries, Latin America, third world country, African country, Asian country, and everything, they should not start thinking about innovation as a priority. They should first fix the same problems in their countries that have been before in the United States and Europe. And he thinks that, the title is From Zero to One. So from zero to one is when you innovate, when you move from something that you don't have to new thing. And the other type of innovation is that one from 1 to n, like the 1 à n, which is like duplicating and adapting to your markets. In our country, we need to fix like basic problems inspired by the solutions that have been realized in other countries. This doesn't mean that we should copy and paste. That's not what I'm saying, but it's very hard now to innovate in new things around in Algeria, like stuff that did not happen in the world. It's very hard because you have the technical innovation or the tech innovation when it comes to deep tech and stuff like that. We're very, very far because we don't have the people who will do that. We don't have the resources and everything, so it's very hard to be to innovate in this way. But when it comes to the other innovation, we can copy some stuff that actually works and adapt them. And yes, you can call that innovation if you want.
So don't you think that it has also to do with the purpose of economical growth? Because when we think about economical growth, I think that what they want to see is successful companies that make revenues maybe nationally and then internationally.
Especially when it comes to
so, for example, when you talk about like a startup as a Spotify when it started, imagine there is no Spotify, and someone in Algeria is thinking, okay, I'm gonna make this startup that will be about what's Spotify do, like playing musicians' content or podcasts content in an app where people, Algerians, are gonna have that on their phone. Ramy, you're gonna be like, oh, we don't need that yet. That's not a need. That's not a solution to a problem.
Actually, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that building the Algerian Spotify would be a great idea. Now, another.
So that's not our problem. We don't.
Yeah, well, the basic stuff, like it's another debate talking about like infrastructure, and I mentioned that in my article, and for everyone who's listening to us, we should be taking a look. It's interesting because there is the basic stuff, and usually you and I cannot actually have a huge impact on that. We're talking about infrastructures, connection, internet and everything. We do not have the authority nor the ability to do that. So we should like more focus on stuff that we have actually we can actually change, because other things they need governments, presidents, stuff like that. High-ranking officials to do that. بصح we can do like كما قلت the Algerian Spotify would be huge. بصح واحد آخر يقول لي no, it's not an innovation because it's copy paste. No, I think it's going to be a startup.
It's a copy paste.
It's not bad. Blacks, they adapted things to this country, to our country. Amazing. It worked. Amazing. Now, what would make this a startup is the growth. When you grow very fast, and you go like they go in other countries, they go in other cities. That's what I want to focus more in startups, is the growth. I don't care, because I don't care about innovation, because the innovation thing is kind of relative. I mean, وش يبان لك أنت innovative ما يبانليش أنا innovative. Because I have been like to 7 or 8 hackathons around the world. I have seen almost a lot of ideas trending for the last 5 years. Now قادر واحد آخر يدير أنا ويقول oh that's amazing, that's innovative. بس أنا شفتها من قبل. So it's not that innovative for me. So that's why I don't want this to be the الفيصل. That's a beautiful thing in Arabic. الفيصل من الحاجة. To talk about startups. So focus on the growth. والسلام عليكم.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. So I had this friend once who explained to me what startup is.
Yeah.
قال لي باللي startup it could be any company اللي تبدا من صفر. Any company. A school can be a startup. بصح الديفيرونس سي كو الحاجة اللي لازم تكون مبدلة في normal company و startup how it generates money. So for example a school بصح the way you generate money is different. ما يكونش شغل كيما so it's always about the revenues. هذه حاجة دوزيام قال لي باللي startup تكون عندها potential there is like I mean there is a potential of growth but it takes years most of the time قال لي it takes years and years قال لي باللي so people who want to they want like for example to have a company اللي تنجح في عامين 3 أعوام هذو غير يروحوا يديروا لونساج بصح اللي راهو يحوس على شغل ستارت اب لازم يعرف في بالو باللي كاين big possibility of failure هذه حاجه الاولى حاجه الدوزيام the purpose is not making money in the first شغل كيف نقولوا in the beginning
exactly,
لازم تبقى تقونفلي فيها بالدراهم العام الاول العام الدوزيام العام التروازيام العام الكاتريام العام السانكيام باش بعد قلت له يتسمى اللي يدير ستارت اب لازم ديجا يكون فاريها بزاف في زاد اخرين
ولا يكون ابن هي هذه جوج من نفتح قوس it's called growth over profits like كي تجيك دراهم you invest not beneficial you don't take profit تشتري بهم طوموبيل ولا تشتري بهم دار ولا whatever the fuck you want to
yeah but that's the thing I mean if you're gonna spend like 5 6 7 years
like for big exits
شغل I don't know like making a lot of efforts into growing something وتسمى انت ما راك تخمم لا في دار لا في
career it's hard you make what we call the exit اللي عنده بزاف طرق you sell your company you make a lot of money في الامريكان if you do a startup like this وتخلص وتبيعها وتربح for example $50 million you are considered in Silicon Valley as a failure even though it's $50 million we're talking about huge like people اللي صح ينجحوا يدخلوا في لابورس when you go exit via the stock market you make in one night $100 million when you stocks يطلعوا قدام now remember Facebook remember Airbnb العام اللي فات العام اللي فات because we are in 2021 so وش قال لك هو ربما حاجه غلطه اللي نظن انا اللي هي في البدايه قال لك اللي اي كومباني از ستارت اب مع الاول لا يو نو دوك في الوزاره تاعنا كاين وزاره الشركات عطوها ميكرو انتربريز الشركات المصغره ووزاره الشركات الناشئه I think that's a very good way to separate things باسكو الشركات المتوسطه اللي عطوها هنا بي ام او بيتيت موين انتربريز ولا تي بي او تري بيتيت انتربريز هادو they have a stable business model usually they don't raise funds for equity they raise funds for debt معناها يسلف الدراهم يسلف الدراهم يبني بزنس يمشي نورمال كيما باغ اكزومبل كيما سكول دونتيست whatever اي انسان كاش كومباني تخدم عفسه تخدم عفسه وتبيعها نورمال قال باينه هي هاز الخدمه تاعو عنده الكلاينت يبيع يعيش نورمال and he keeps the same growth بالك growth خفيفه يجي كليون ساعه يروحوا له he delivers the same service بصح ستارت ابس and سورتو كي يحب يكبر بزاف لازم له بزاف انفستمنت اكزامبل كلينيك يحب يفتح كبير لازم له دار لازم له لوكال اكبر لازم له شنو تشوفا اما في ستارت ابس تقدر تكبر بلا ما تصرف بزاف دراهم اكزامبل تاع الابليكيشنز يو كان هاف لايك اليوم 10 من الناس انسكري غدوه 100 200 1000 2000 5000
كاين investment in the marketing part man in order
yeah in both ways I mean like the investment in marketing is both غير واش هو the business model that differs in the startup way أول حاجة the business model is not fixed yet like قادر يتبدل au fur et à mesure معناها على حساب your adventure بصح في الميكرو انتربريز you have the same business model عندك تخدم كش برودكسيون تخدم تبيع السلام عليكم ولا سيرفيس نفسه تمدو السلام عليكم and usually you keep the same la même the same way of doing business so in startups you always grow usually you grow like في شغل 2 digits per month مثلا 10% 15% par mois it's that's huge parce que you grow and كيفاش تولي usually profitable when تلحق لواحد المده واحد البلاصه معينه وين سي بون now you will be able to make a lot of money you can do exits you can share you can sell stuff.
Did you hear about the story of Spotify? Do you know how the Spotify started everything? I think it was in 2004 or 2006
in Sweden that's what I
yes
know.
In Sweden so it's based on Stockholm that's where the headquarters are but what's interesting is that when they started I think it's either in 2004 or 2006 when they started they so basically in Spotify what they need so how do they make money through users who pay like I don't know like $5 or $10 per month so in the beginning there weren't many users of course وكل عام يزيدوا اليوزرز بصح حتى هما عندهم a lot of expenses يعني يخلصوا الخدامين عندهم for example the heart they have a lot.
That's why they raise funds so usually they need a lot of money to grow so تسمح لي يقول لك بلي فلان raised $100 million
yeah
raising $100 million it's amazing get your guide a startup in AR raised $500 million as a Series A response. واش معناها they raise $500 million. في الجزائر احنا شغل اتس انكونسيفابل. كنت تحكي الانسان هنا يخدم في المينيستر دي فينانس ولا عفسه يهبل $500 مليون جست ريز. دراهمكم حيروحوا حيتحرقوا وقادر ما يجيبوا له. That's the point of investing in startups. So that's the idea of people investing in this. They raise a lot of money to grow. Okay. And maybe in 5 years, 10 years, that will be profitable.
What's interesting is that they didn't make money until 2019.
Yeah.
Until 2019 تسمى شو شحال عندهم. But my question was like, and so if each year it's a loss of money, each year loss of money, so how could they, I don't know, like sustain the confidence and the motivation to keep investing in that?
No, it's normal. خلاص بالعكس. justement نهار هاد الشيء يولي normal معناها ولينا نفهم what startup is, what startups are, because the point of their business model is to lose money for many years.
بعد تنقلب بصح نهار تولي you make money تتخلف هذوك many years in a very short time.
And نفس الشيء هذا حكيها بزاف الاخ بيتر تيل in his book like you know
أخ بيتر
هي يقول même in funds like when you have a fund of you know like supposedly $100 million وتبزعهم على بزاف ستارت ابس. يوجوالي يقول لك باللي اذا تنفيستي في 20 ستارت اب يعني في لور ماني كاع يفشلوا غير واحده اللي راح تنجح it will compensate all the losses واكثر. سي بور سا they invest a lot. سي يقمروا بزاف. سي بور سا they fail a lot.
So not everyone is motivated to do that.
No بالعقل. Yes في بلاد متخلفه كيما احنا بصح في in other countries علاش باسكو these big investors for example تروح biggest funds in the world
يكونوا ماشي from the government. The big investors يكونوا individuals.
No, not necessarily. كاين like most like famous funds Sequoia, Accel, the biggest large in the world SoftBank $100 billion من بينهم $45 مليار جابها من عند شكون؟ الأخ محمد بن سلمان MBS like the CEO of and there's a
محمد بن سلمان
there's a very funny story. Masayuchi's son is the founder and the head of this fund. راح عند يشوف MBS راح ريح معه 45 minutes قصروا خرج قال للصحافة باللي we secured $45 billion for our funds.
Billion?
Yes 45 مليار دولار. It's more than the whole revenue تاع سنة في عام. راح جابوه في 45 دقيقة من عند MBS باش to invest in SoftBank to tech startups. واحد الجورناليست قال له so if I like get your point so you spent 1 hour with MBS and you got $45 million. قال له no I have spent 45 minutes with him and got $45 billion. Each minute $1 billion. So the fact that these people are investing huge amounts of money has many reasons. أولها now you know when you are a rich person and that's a real problem. You don't know what to do with your money.
But what is the motive of MBS?
I'm coming. I'm coming. كيما انت اني جايب العربي. I hate this when like ترجم الكلمات. Damn, I hate this.
اني جايك.
Yeah. So the thing is that there are many reasons. Like جوجل عانت واحد الوقت من المشكله الكبيره. They have a lot of cash and they don't know what to do with that. So خايبوا يخدموا like ينفستوا in different stuff كما يقول بيتر تيل n'importe quoi ولا يتيريو برك باسكو they have a lot of money. It's a huge problem when you have a lot of money باسكو علاش اذا ما تنفستيهمش for the future تمدهم دي ديفيدند الاكشنر مثلا people who has shares and if you do that the company will not grow and you will finish كيما نوكيا. So that's a huge problem when you have a lot of money. It's a very big problem. دوك واش يديروا.
Imagine that situation being a problem, money being a problem.
Yeah.
Having a lot of money.
هذه for companies and for individuals like people who make a lot of money صح they are billionaires. شو يدير بها like they made the money قدامنا. It's a very big problem.
I think that there are many things to do, man. Come on.
The least in this country بصح عندهم هما تلمو the investment like بدات تغلق كما قالهم الاخر بالدومين.
So you're living in a global world. I mean there are certain rich people for example when they have a lot of money ما كاش واش يديروا بهم. They I don't know. They fund some charity organizations.
Investment for the long term. هو ماذا به الدراهم يبقاو يخدموا عليه مش يمدهم الواحد يحيد به. No, it's about investment and they will invest in countries like for example Morocco, countries اللي يفتحوا الابواب نتاعهم. بصح there are some people who don't want to invest in stuff they don't know. كما يقول الاخ وارين بافيت. Don't invest في حاجه ما تعرفهاش.
بصح كاين بزاف في الجزائر اللي هكا. كاين بزاف rich people في الجزائر. بصح البروبليم سيكو كاين اللي rich people but they are not expert in a certain like educational domain.
It's very interesting and I will explain شوية why they don't do that. باسكو هو بصح شو الاخرين علاش they go to highly risk investment اللي يعرفوا VC venture capital يروحوا له باسكو they don't have a lot of choices. Imagine في الجزائر مثلا انت if you have 1 billion عندك مليار دينار 100 مليار سنتيم تروح تنفيستي في ستارت ابس وانت عندك other stuff تقدر تحل حانوت تبيع شاورما تربح دراهم. So that's why yet nobody wants to invest in these things باسكو مش باسكو they don't have money باسكو there are way easier ways to invest money. بصح في الامريكان ما بقاش باسكو كلش مغلوق دوك يوليو شي يديروا عندك الشو المعروف جدا اللي هو لي بون دو تريزور صدق كو تروح
بصح كيف ما بقاش في الامريكان you cannot open a restaurant.
No, you can. بصح there are كان concurrence. It's hard to like just open up. It's hard to maintain a business. C'est pas كيما هنا. It's like really hard to start a new business. دوك شو يوليو يديروا يحوسوا على large ولا very highly risked investment اللي ياخذوا يدخلوا بزاف دراهم. بكري كي كانت الحاله الدنيا هانيه ومنا من في بدايه الالفيه هذه 20 years ago كانوا 10 years ago كانوا يروحوا ينفيستيو في the banks و the treasury باش يديو دي طو دانتيغي عاليين بزاف 8% باراني. It's amazing. تحط $100 million بعد عام عندك 108 you make $8 million وانت ما دير والو في حياتك. بصح فيكو الحاله الايكونوميك نقصت بزاف منا لي طو دانتيغي نقصوا بزاف ولات 1% 2% 3% not interested at all. ما يحب دونك شنو يدير يروح للديفون when he risks his money a lot of big money بصح ما عليه بصح كون يربح بزاف. So that's the point of having funds and that's why in the US which is like very special even for Europe بالنسبة للأمريكان متخلفين like كنت تشوف numbers of VC investment in Europe and the US مازالوا بعد like in France like 5 years ago كانوا كيما احنا براسك. And now France is really having a hype because of that. Because the largest and the most, like the richest people in France, Bernard or Xavier, etc., they are investing huge amounts of money in startups. And when they do, they have like this confidence in the system, in startups and the new technology world. So other people would do same. في الجزائر مازلنا بعد عليها, which is very normal. باسكو أفر وقت. And when we do, يوليو عندنا تاني like big gurus of tech investment وش كوبي. I hope that. I really hope to see that like people كيما Xavier like le gars تاع Free is one of the richest person in France وهو اللي دار station F in Paris, the largest startup campus in the world. So when he did that, other people would invest. So that's the main reasons of why people want to invest in VC, venture capital, اللي هي highly risked startups, tech companies, is because the risk is very high. It's a high risk, high reward. And that's why they want to do that because كما قلت لك other ways of having money or investing money بدهم ينقصوا بزاف. So that's the future.
Yeah, I'm gonna get lightheaded with all these like bombarding of information.
Well, I'm sorry for that. I think that like people who are watching يقدر pause.
Yeah, exactly.
I do this like when كنشوف دي فيديو كيما هكا. Xavier pause. شكون Xavier؟ طابيها في جوجل. أبرا شكون Bernard? Axel شكون Axel ACCEL. It's a fund in Europe.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like when you have like a lot of information that you don't know much about, like you need to stop and research. Otherwise, you cannot follow.
Exactly.
Up.
And if you do that, you can like خلاص video, you can learn so many things. مش just what is mentioned there, but what you are actually looking for. You have Google, of course, that's great, and you can be more in the context.
Yeah, sure. Bon, people like to say that Algeria is like a virgin market, which is true. Like when you compare it to the US, for example, as I said, كان يكون عندك شوية درهم تحل ريستوران شغل تربح.
Exactly. That's debatable. But I know if we are talking about the tech startup sphere,
I'm saying most of the time. I think that there is a high probability of success if you're patient وتفتح بلاصة شغل فيها شوية ناس وتشغل ما مشي كيما بلايصات أخرين. But at the same time, I feel like there aren't much opportunities. There aren't many opportunities.
For what?
For people to start from nothing and create something. That's the thing. If they have a backup, for example, money, they already have money. But what they need education باش ينفستيو في حاجه شغل educational ولا what they need the entrepreneurial spirit. مانيش تكون عندك education بصح شنو تكون تقفز تحوس تمشي بليش انا تشري تبيع فايس هكذا انا تنجح. بصح اذا ما عندكش هذاك الباك اب وتبدا from nothing ودير في بالك باللي you're gonna work for someone وتبقى تجمع في الدرهم كل عام تجمع باش شغل تكري زعما اسمه that's
I actually see these things very like the exact opposite تاعك parce que usually كي تكون bien not all the time so I have been to things with that like met people like that when like لاباس بيكم منا que j'appelle moi la bourgeoisie usually you're not like that into things except when you really love what you do and you really want to succeed.
What do you mean by you're not like into things?
كي تكون لاباس بيك وعايش bien tu viens d'une bonne famille من هيك tu n'as pas generally these people like go to big companies they have good jobs good salaries السلام عليكم سلام. we're talking about entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship in a world very hard, especially when it comes to technology and stuff. Comes to startups, not only in technology.
Do you think most of the entrepreneurs they come from rich families?
No, not at all.
Is it the opposite?
Both, because they all have the same mindset that they want to build things and they insist on that. كاين Bill Gates كان لاباس به, Mark Zuckerberg كان لاباس به.
Zuckerberg كان لاباس به. What about his pictures? They show him like he was like a.
كان لاباس به سي بارون جو بونس مو ولا بابا دونتيست لاباس به كان ما يجوعش كان لاباس به كاع كان قادر يخدم نورمال ويعيش نورمال. جيف بيزوس ثاني كان فيري لاباس به بابا والديه lawyers and everything. بصح he wanted to do things and the education
تلعب دور كبير.
بصح كان خليني زيرو زقوا كما يقولوا الجايز تاع واش اسمهم Airbnb كانوا عايشين في بلاصه كانوا ما يقدروش يخلصوا الكرا كل شهر. So these people they were in a situation where they had to succeed. So this doesn't mean اللي لاباس بهم they are not no بالعكس if they have the spirit they can succeed. So just like I would not like categorize people ولا حاجه. I just would say باللي كاين الناس اللي صح ما بداوش من زيرو which is amazing. Just profit هذا الشيء don't be dumb وشلت بروفيتي بزاف. السيد تاع اسمه سناب شات ثاني كان لاباس به بزاف. كان لاباس به ثاني بزاف كان باباه يمد دراهم $200,000 نورمال صار. So the thing is that all of these entrepreneurs has the mindset that they want to build something they love and they are ready to sacrifice time and efforts and money for it. So that's the most important thing about that. Look, if you are صعيبة باش تلم دراهم, no, that's different. But I don't think at all
it's an obstacle.
Exactly.
And I do think it's an obstacle.
It is, but it would like make things go harder. It would make your success even better, and it would like شوية you can like lose some time. قال كيما قلت أنت if you start to work when you need to eat parce que tu peux pas just and I know how it feels, bro. You need always to like to work on basic stuff and then to think about changing the world.
شيء البروبلم سيكو even our salaries actually كنقولوا they cover the basics.
I know.
That's the thing. And sometimes barely the basics.
I totally agree with that, and that's why you should invest واش عندك تكون شاب when you are الله يبارك young no you invest time and effort. C'est pour ça تولي c'est pour ça نتما when you will look for people who has money ويسناو في من ينفستيو. بصح انت when you prove باللي you are ready to sacrifice your time and your efforts to build something that you actually believe in, people with money would trust you.
Last time كنت نقصر مع سيد كاستيك هضرنا على هضرت له على قلت له على الديسكورس على public discourse. I'm not sure if you saw that video.
Not everything بس هذه ما شفتش عليها.
Yeah, public discourse قلت له بلي علاش ما نهضروش على global subjects ما نهضروش على interesting subject. قلت له كي نتبع for example global media and I follow the public discourse here. I feel like there is a huge difference. So we're not talking about I don't know like big subjects like very interesting, very controversial. Sometimes we're talking about topics اللي شغل باينين الانسر تاعهم وعمق بلي شغل تلمو ما بيش اسكت صرا لك هذه بصح من داك نخمم مع روحي نقول بلي دوك انا for 5 years نبقى نهضر about the same things that I'm talking about now. Like for example women, when we talk for example about the subject of women كيما هذيك اللي راح تدير راح تدير سبور جوجن في صابلات وبعد واحد باش يسبها ولا ضربها ولا ما yeah but it became like a national subject and everyone is talking about it. Like that's so obvious بلي what the guy did is wrong وباين he should get punished. شغل ما على بالي تولي كيف group of guys يهضروا على الجيرلز والجيرلز يهضروا على هذوك بعد تبدا هذوك كيف نقولوا هذوك الاسماء المنحطه هذيك الستيريوتايبس
هي مش غير في هذا اللون في بزاف حوايج. اي دايوغ سيد كاستيك shout out to him اللي he did the shout out to me for la décadence which I believe تاع صح. C'est ça la décadence. D'ailleurs il y a pas longtemps كنت نتفرج un ancien épisode on n'est pas couché وين جابوا فاليري جيسكار ديستان l'ancien président اللي دايوغ توفى ما عندوش بزاف وين تكلموا على نسيت شكون جابو ثاني والله غير ان توكا قالوا لا سي كوا لا ديكا وي ميشيل اونفري سي فيلوزوف فرونسي يهضر في كلش وعنده 150 كتاب. قالت له ودي سي كوا لا ديكادونس وين تشوف لا ديكادونس قال لها بلي اون ني با اون تران دو بارلي دي سوجي كي intéresse les gens vraiment. It's exactly what you are saying. Like you are saying something like un grand philosophe français قالها donc it's good.
The thing is I think it in my personal life نقول بلي اوكي انا نهار كنت في عمري زعما 17 سنه 18 سنه حاولك لي سوجي اللي كنت نهضر عليهم اللي كنت انتريسي فيهم اللي كنت نبارطاجي عليهم بعد ندير كومونتير وصاحبي يزيد يدير كومونتير وبعد برا نزيد نهضر عليهم وبعد في 20 21 هاولك لي سوجي نهضر 22 23 راني نحب شغل نحس بلي كيف نقولوا نحس بلي ماشي غير انا individually ميم از سوسايتي رانا شغل نديفلوباو انا شو نطلعوا في فري سوجي دونك فور اكزامبل في 2010 واش هضرنا على 2010 مازال نحكوا عليها زعما في 2020 شغل ذا سيم
سي صا لا ديكادونس سي صا لا ديكادونس كنت نشوف بكري في لي زاني 70 60 كانوا يتكلموا في سابجيكت ماترز باسكو كنت نشوف الناس اللي في لي زاني 70 و 60 خاصه في العالم كامل كانوا صح يعيشوا لا فري ريفولوسيون في الامريكان كونتر لي زينيغاليتي سوسيال في فرنسا ثاني كونتر اسمه مي 68 واش صار في 70 اكسيتيرا ابري لو سوسياليزم في لي زاني 80 they were actually talking about stuff that matters I think باللي والدينا وجدودنا عاشوا حياه خير منا even though كانوا في wars والعنف كان اكبر بكثير من واش كاين العنف دوكا لكن they were actually talking about something that matters تلقى انسان عمره 24 سنه يميتريزي بعشرات لي سوجي وهنا انسان عمره 24 سنه افريج يتكلم كما كنت انت في السوجي اللي قال لي that don't matter at all and نلوموا بزاف الناس بينهم الميديا
هي ماشي don't matter
شويه no هو صح subject matters غير شو the way they are actually talking about it that is not like helpful.
Exactly, that's one thing. The second thing is the answer is actually obvious. حنا for example كاين واحد لي سوجي رامي كاين واحد لي سوجي على بالنا بلي controversial like for example is there free will ولا I don't know is there free will ولا are we كيف نقولوا intelligent people are they born intelligent or is it because of the environment like تاع nature and nurture things like that philosophers have talked about for years and years ودائما شغل دائما هذه الديبا شغل تعاود تبان بصح كاين واحد اللي سوجي they are not debatable like for example someone كيما اللي حكيت لك تاع الطفله هذيك someone if she should be free to run of course she should be free to run شغل who are you to هذه ما شغل is that a question وبعد يقول لك علاش تجري لثم علاش تجري واش دخلك على تجري لثم واش دخلك واش من الوقت ماك شغل what the hell is this
هذا اكزامبل كنت نشوف بالك في اخر شهر ديسمبر نوفمبر عدد لي كونتروفيرس اللي صراو بزاف وتفهم هذا الشيء and I don't remember them and I thank God I don't remember them باسكو تلقاهم يجيو سمعنا يروحوا تنسى السلام عليكم next مي هنا it's a bigger debate ونتكلم علاش تصرا كيما هكا علاش the people تاعنا are interested in this kind of things كيفاش لحقنا لهاد لا ديكادونس so it's a large topic even though بالك نعاود ملي قبل قلت لي بلي كاين topics اللي شو كبار وصعاب وعميقين كما يقولوا yes we should have people اللي يتكلموا في البيج ديبيت كما تلقاها في فرنسا والامريكان وكاع لايك في الميديا دي زيميسيون ملاح دي زيميسيون عندهم مستوى راقي جدا وين يقراو دي ليف وين يديروا كذا كيما في فرنسا مثلا لكن حنا ما عندناش هذا النوع من الميديا اللي actually they are helping باسكو I know ميديا يحبوا الفيوز يحبوا الدراهم سا با ان بروبليم غير شي واحد كاين كمان ان مينيموم دو كونتوني انتيليكتوال اللي نحتاجوه اللي لازم مي
اكزاكتلي
مي ابري افتخر باش ما نقولش بلي حنا نلوم برك البيك بغازا ما تنساش بلي براذر زعما بغازا على فرنساس الثاني بلي الميديا راهو مرآة واش كاين في المجتمع صدق واش كاين في الميديا is usually واش كاين في المجتمع بكثره so we need حنا start by changing education الناس اللي في الجامعه people who are actually creating good quality content and doing good things حتى هما لازم يبانوا اكثر when you talk about books when you talk about cultural stuff when صح you talk about subjects that actually matter باش من تما تولي تبان نورمال في الميديا يعني كي تبان بزاف في المينستريم ميديا اللي يشوفوها millions of people in our country people would get شويه different views واللي يهتموا بالامور المهمه and I hope هذا الشيء يصرا في الجيل نتاعنا باسكو كون نكملوا في هذه لا ديكادونس اند يس قلتها بزاف راح نكونوا في مشاكل بزاف وما ديريش في المونتاج ديكادونس
yeah that's the thing that's what we agreed about that's what we agreed on last time with سيد خاستي قال لي بلي شغل when young people make more content especially بس علاش كرهنا complaining I don't want to complain anymore انا نحب حاجه نحبها I created a studio and I'm bringing guests حاجة حبها راني نهضر عليها
exactly yeah
I want more people to do that and when more people do that راح نشوفوا باللي هذيك كيف نقولوا الرداء على ديكادونس نقدر عليها poor quality subjects هذوك يولوا ينقصوا بس علاش they're outweighed by other important subjects.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. اسمع زعما كيدخلوا سيد كاستيك هو سيد كاستيك is the character هو سيد.
Okay and I call him سيد علي ديما نقول هاي سيد علي.
ايه هو سيد الماني هو ديما نحب نقولوا سيد كاستيك يا ودي سيد كاستيك اسمه سيد الكاركتر انا اسموني سيد احترمني يرحم والديك and shout out again to سيد. You are totally right and I think باللي we have people اللي يقدروا يديروا هذا الشيء اللي يقدروا create good quality content يقدروا يديروا great things and I see that all the time usually on Instagram
so also we should help each other we should also help each other
and I think
من نشوفهم بلي كاين شغل كونكورنس بيناتهم وكونكورنس جاي حابس واحد فيهم ما راه يربح حتى حاجه
yes especially when you start actually I think باللي ça doit pas être que like for social good no if you can make money out of it it's great but also we should do more limit lobbying so this good quality content يجوز in the mainstream media. ما تنساش
Exactly,
الشعب ما يتبعش فيسبوك وانستغرام او يتبع فيسبوك ما يتبعش الكونتنت هذاك اللي تحكيو عليه انت باسكو تلقى فيديو هايله بزاف تلقى عنده مسكين 300 400 فيو غير الناس اللي يتبعوه الناس اللي يعرفوه بصح حنا we want to get to the people we want to get to the millions of people اللي عايشين في ديارهم اللي يتفرجوا على التلي كل يوم في الليل بعد العشاء. These people يتبعوا the mainstream media يتبعوا القنوات المعروفه so هذه القنوات المعروفه should be interested more in this type of content كشمه starting like few years.
صح كاينة الحاجة هي الميديا usually they are interested in numbers. That's what they care about. It's numbers.
قلتها لك and it's pas un problème. It's pas un problème عندنا. روح شوف في فرنسا.
For example, you're great intellectual and you're making great videos, very beneficial, very productive, very educational. But if you don't have a lot of numbers, a lot of people shall following you. Huma, if they bring you, if they host you to talk about your initiative and everything, shall they want that when they post about it, a lot of people will engage. A lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I know that guy. You know, I've been following him. So if you have like just few people who are following you, هما شغل ما حاش تجيب لهم بزاف numbers of views.
شوف كاين عفسه الحل الاولى سيكو things can get better with time. ماكش تبدا ديريكتومون تجيب ملايين الناس هذه الاولى. So it's like if the media would like to start the biggest the mainstream media would take time شويه باش الناس يوليو يتبعوا which I think very very probable. Il suffit برك consistance حاجه مليحه هذه. Second thing is that the how to tell you مام الميديا على بالهم هما بصح ساعات على بالهم بلي كيما نقولوا حنا خمجوها بزاف لهيه so they need something good باش كوم سا يغارديو شويه كريديبيليتي and they would be interested in these people باش يغارديو بهم شويه كريديبيليتي and it happens and I know that in a lot of media سواء digital media ولا media and mainstream يحتاجوا good quality people باش قال او ماناش غير نخلطوا يا جماعه راك فاهم صافا. and the third option اللي
هذا يقول لك يدس السم في العسل
exactly شويه كيما هكا. and the third point اللي انا I'm ميلانكوليك معناها نوستالجيك مش مليحه جا العفسه لا راح الحزن هو انه كون نشوف الدول كيما فرنسا باغ اكزومبل لي زيميسيون اللي فيهم العلم اكثر هما اللي يتريو لعبتك اكثر تلقى بلي باغ اكزومبل دي زيبيزود تاع بكري اوني باكوشي تاع فرونس 2 مليونز اوف بيبل واتشين ات باسكو يجيبوا كتابات ويجيبوا كذا وكيفاش حنا في الجزائر صعيبه ملي تلقى بلي عندهم ريكورد تاع سامدي سوار 1.2 مليون بيرسون يتبعوا واش انفيتي باسكو جاب كتاب ويتكلم عليه ولي كرونيكور ينتقدوا فيه اكسيتيرا وهذا الشيء يبوشي الناس اكثر انهم يوليو انتريسي ويقراوا الكتاب ويشريوه دونك تشوف يوليو انتريسي. انا نتمنى يجي نهار وين الشعب الجزائري يولي يحب يتبع هذا الشيء يولي انتريسي لهذا الشيء.
بصح شوف كاين لوك باش دقيقه كاين الناس اللي يهضروا على الفعفايس ملاح ولا انا عمرك شلون يحب انا what I want to tell you is that sometimes we can make scientific content ولا educational content more entertaining because sometimes that's what we need. If you bring people who are boring صح they are intelligent صح they are boring they sit like this السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبعد يبدا يهضر بلا عقل وبعد عمك like for example I don't know what I heard this once بصح يقول لك بلي كل واحد عنده capacity شحال يقدر يسمع من كلمة في 1 minute. Let's say for example in 1 minute انت تقدر تسمع for example تقدر تسمع 400 كلمة وبعد يجيك واحد يهضر 200 كلمة في دقيقة شغل انت عندك الكاباسيتي باش تسمع اكثر وهو راه يهضر يبان لك راه سلو وبعد انت تتبع معاه 20 seconds 30 seconds you lose focus واذا واحد يهضر زي ما يقولوا 600 كلمه كما بن شابيرو يهضر شغل 600 700 كلمه in 1 minute وانت عندك الكاباسيتي تاع 400 ما تقدرش تلاحقوا ثاني you lose focus انسو لازم ماشي لازم واحد يكون 400 كلمه بس لازم يكون قريب 450 350.
I agree.
That's just as an example and I feel like our generation today they have the capacity to be more faster in thinking comparing with the old people. إذا market old people so too old ومن ذاك يكونوا شغل scientists the only one who is slow in talking بصح I can listen to him ونقدر نتبع معه هو نوم تشومسكي. نوم تشومسكي شتو يهضر بلا عقل بصح وشنو I don't know I feel like he is interesting and maybe because of his profile بصح وكان ما نعرفش نوم تشومسكي
شكون هو واش دار في حياته سا با اوسي انتريسون. I agree غير واش هو but I think باللي you need to bring these people like brilliant people in a good context when هما they could be cool يقصروا مع الناس كتاع سي بوغ سا I love like les émissions من هذا الشيء تاع زعما تجيب واحد وكرونيكور ومنمني ونتناقشوا ونقصروا نهضروا.
شوف هذيك الحصه تاع يخيروا 4 اسئله يخيروا من سيربح المليون من سيربح المليون for example that was a great idea of كيف نقولوا inspiring informative content.
I agree.
I really loved it. ماشي غير المسابقه بس also the music
that's one
بعد شغل هكذا بعد واحد بدا يهضر السؤال الاول بعد هذوك راهم مريحين بداو يخموا that's like that inspires people to be more educational. شغل يقول بلي you see people شغل هنايا الناس اللي يعرفوا اكثر راهم يربحوا مليون. you see تسمى بصح حنا كي تكون عندنا سوسايتي اللي ما يعرفش هو اللي يربح واللي يعرف ما
هي there's more there's more. شو هذا اكزامبل صغير باسكو اللي سون الاخرين سي كو الحفايت اللي تنداروا بزاف باسكو if you need to change the country تحتاج a bit more than
of course not just one show
2 hours a week. we need like more ونورمال نغلطوا بزاف في الاول بالك الناس ما تتبعش منا. you need to keep going باسكو we are in an objective نتاع changing people minds trying to create good stuff etc. و there is and I think there is. انا ما نتبعش لا تلفزيون بزاف برسك با دي تو except like التلفزيون تاع فرنسا مي تاعنا حنا على بالي باللي تاع ساعه يحاولوا مي ساعه تلقاهم ما تمشيش يبدل. وبزاف كاين جود شوز اللي ما يعيشوش بزاف because of كيما قلت انت views engagement وما شابه ذلك. لكن what I think is that we should change the context of when you bring some people interesting people باش يكون more familiar to الناس اللي راهم يتبعوا and they might be بشوي يتبعوا باسكو مش تجيب اول حاجه تجيب انسان يتكلم في حاجه مش انا chemical stuff ولا تتكلم في AI ولا it's complicated. so you need to bring people اللي شغل كيما احنا for example that's a good example. we go there ولا what you are doing هنايا and other people باسكو من يكونوا other people you have more chances باش الناس اللي يتبعوك بالك يعجبوا واحد فيهم ولا يتبع واحد فيهم ولا يتبع الشو على جال هذاك الانسان سبيسيفيكلي. قال يكونوا في 4 وانسان يتبع غير على جال فلان
بس عجبوك كيفاش يهضر.
exactly and I think باللي it would take time. we need شويه ثاني the government انه يزير الامور كما في فرنسا عندهم سياسه كونساي سوبيريور دو لوديفيزيوال هما اللي يشوفوا من فوق هاي مليح هذا مش مليح نحي لي هذا برنامج عيان اروح انت واش كدير. سي انتريسون باش نكون عندنا اون سيغتان ريغولاسيون انتريسون باش ما نبقاوش نديروا في التفاهات باسكو دركا رانا شاك فوا نهبطوا يجي نهار ما بقاش وين يا جماعه باسكو شاك فوا الكونتوني راهو يفسد.
The problem is that when someone is pragmatic he would do only what people like. That's the thing. And last time سيد خاصني قال لي باللي قال لي there is قال لي the difference between podcast and media they create content for the people. Podcast someone does the podcast for himself so he enjoys what he's doing. And so for example in the media they're pragmatic they do things for the people and so they have عندهم دي شيفر عندهم شغل يشوف ويدير هذه ويشوف واش من الحاجه اللي طلعت بزاف هذه 1000 وهذه 2000 هذه 3000 هذه مليون هذه جابت مليون واحد كان يتبع. علاش المليون تسمع if we are against bad content then we shouldn't watch it we should follow it. فهمت انا هذه العفسه وهذه نحس روحي انا داير هكا
وراك مسؤول عليها.
انا فور اكزامبل اون فيسبوك حاجه ما تعجبنيش ما نتبعهاش. انستغرام حاجه ما تعجبنيش ما نتبعهاش. انسان ما يعجبنيش ما نتبعوش. بصح واي علاش حنا فور اكزامبل we complain about certain channels we complain about certain people بصح كي تشوفهم تلقاهم كامل دايرين لهم جام فور اكزامبل انا شفتها الناس نعرفهم فور اكزامبل they complain about someone وبعد كي تدخل on انستغرام تلقاهم يضلوا فولو يديروا له شغل جام انا اكتب ما فهمتش انا اكتب against that. You're against that. You're against what they are saying. You're against what they are doing. You're against how they are impacting society. انت وين كي دير الجام تاعك كيف نقولوا you're just expanding their impact, you know?
Yeah, probably. هو كاين some people would argue باللي يقول لك انا ماذا بيا نشوف anyways باش نعرف واش كاين ليه واش كاين هنا. I would not comment on that. بصح what I think is كما قلت انت media يديروا واش يحبوا الناس and podcast يديروا واش يحبوا. I think باللي c'est pas aussi simple que ça. Media they also have some agenda they want to smoke them so they do some stuff.
Really? Agenda like what?
No, like مش خليت
making society stupid.
No بصح كاين some كنت نروح للامريكان تفهم تلقى باللي some people on the left some people on the right.
صح كاين هذيك ايديولوجي بصح حنا في الجزائر ما كاينش بزاف ايديولوجي.
كاين حوايج اخرين في الباك جراوند بصح يت I believe باللي there are some content اللي يقدر تكون يتضاد يكون على فوا interesting اي على فوا يجيب الغاشي وبشويه شوف واحد بشويه تبع اوبريجي like ما كانش 0 ما كانش.
I did this once and I got criticized. I did this with a girl. I remember the girl who once claimed that she came from another planet from space.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard something about that.
Her and her kind, like they infected people with COVID-19 and things like that. And so many people were focused on that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to post about that. I'm just gonna download the video and put it. But it's not like I'm supporting it, and I didn't even laugh much about it. I was just like, wow. Then I put it on our Facebook page, on Algene Black Pearl Facebook page, And what I wrote was that, okay, when someone sees a video like that, it's like enough internet for today, you know.
Yeah.
And then some people thought that I am making fun of the girl. Some other people thought that I am encouraging insults against the girl. Some people thought that the girl is mentally sick and I shouldn't post about that. It was crazy. Even though in like, I remember, I think it was like in 10 minutes, there were like hundreds of reactions and like 60 comments in just 10 minutes. It's something that we don't receive daily. And I was like, holy, I mean, oh my God, like if I keep posting content like that, so I'm gonna still have like a lot of numbers, you know. And when I, for example, post about the content like a conversation like we're having right now, I don't expect numbers like that. Why? You know, why?
Not.
If you're against that type of content, don't comment, don't react, just ignore.
You know, it's easy. It's about one word: emotions. People tend to share more, comments more, like more when they are emotionally engaged. When they see things كما قلت بعض الناس قال لك باللي you should not do that because they felt empathy ولا sympathy for this girl. Some people ما يحبوش. الحب وش هو الحب؟ It's an emotion. Some people يكرهوا وش هو الكره؟ Emotion. So when it comes to emotions, people tend to react more. Like our podcast ما فيش a lot of emotions. Ce n'est pas du tout. So that's why people would not like يجي واحد هكا يشوف بلي the content is interesting, they are talking about interesting stuff, I learned some stuff, I would like to share with this ولا اصلي ندير لهم كومنتار قال good luck ربي يعاونكم. That's good. بصح ما تلقاش بزاف ناس كيما هكا بصح كي دير زعما content واللي engaged hatred and love ومنها by far تلقى بزاف comments and بزاف reactions which is completely normal and media actually ولا many people on social media they play on this كيما يلعبون على هذا الوتر الحساس نتاع
emotions.
And this is totally fine and I think it's totally normal. You would not expect that much difference. إذا راك تدور بزاف في social media ولا في الميديا بصفة عامة you know باللي this kind of thing specifically.
But I think that there should be education. I think that there should be education about social media, how social media works, and how people can fight on social media. I think when people understand that, they would have a better idea about how to combat bad content.
I agree.
على بالهم with negative comments. على بالهم with negative comments. I'm gonna insult. So this comment is going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's going to increase.
Exactly. C'est pas ça qui va changer les choses.
Exactly.
And yeah, you're totally right about this.
Probably not everyone knows that. Last time my neighbor ما كانش على بالهم مين probably لي بوست اللي يخرجوا لهم الفوق سبونسوريزي ماشي ولا يدير لهم جام اللي واحد اخر خلص باش والله ما على بالهم they don't know.
Exactly. We should educate people بطريقة
about that.
باش قالوا دي.
مو سيت كاستيك ولا يهضر بالعربية ما يهضر بالعربية درجة تاع
الشعب. كما يقولوا اقضي إصلاح. سيدكاستيك صح we should have content باللغه العربيه باللغه الدارجه اللي يفهموها الناس باسكو هذه هو اللغه تاعنا when you talk about when in English or in French you target a specific
انا البروبليم تاعي ما نعرفش نهضر بيها
usually ما يحتاجوش هذوك المعلومات باسكو انت تلقاهم بيان قرايه منا سي بور سا انا ثاني نحاول راهو مجهود لانه شفتوا في عالم كيما التك ستارت ابس وين معظم المفردات المصطلحات راهم بالانجليزيه فاهم شويه ثاني بالفرنسيه مي باسكو انا ثاني نتعلمهم بالفرنسيه طبعا شو مي معليش يو نيد تو دو شويه ايفور راك تعرف باش كوم سا او ما تحاول توصل لي الرساله بطريقه معينه and I think we need more of this.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And my problem is that only because I don't express myself well بالدرجة. رماركيت روحي من ذاك. I you know it's very interesting because sometimes رماركيت سي كو for example in my neighborhood كاين ناس اللي باينين هما اللي كي يهضروا they appeal people. They bring attention on them. So everyone is silent and they are talking. عندهم واحد level of charisma كي يهضروا يستعملوا بزاف مصطلحات يستعملوا زعما for example quote ماشي quotes بصح usually Algerian quotes ولا slogans things like that. أنا ما نعرفش نهضر هكذا. الحاجة الأولى I don't know actual Algerian actual slogans. ما نقدرش نبدا نهضر بنقول لك باللي غير الجبال ما يتلاقاوش.
وانت وي هي
هذا بصح كاين ناس اللي دائما في الانتوراج تاعهم هكذا اللغة تاع الشارع هذيك they mastered it. They know how to talk man. And I feel like that's kind of even though they're not educated or something they have the charisma to convince other people كي يكونوا في قهوه يكونوا 10 مجمعين عليهم هو يحكي لهم وكاعهم يسمعوا ومن داك تقدر تكون كذبه ويقنعهم فيها ويعرفوا
حاجه غلطه حاجه ساينتيفيكلي غلطه
انا نحس for example I have more knowledge than that person بصح when I'm talking كي انا نهضر ما نقدر ما يسمعوليش يبان
Yeah, I
بلي
agree.
no I
هذا
don't
شيء معروف،
talk.
هذا شيء معروف.
Yeah, and so if I do a podcast I would rather talk with language اللي انا نحس comfortable ونحس بلي I can convince people with, you know, and I feel like that's English. That has always been English. I mean, in conferences and presentations, I always feel like نلقى مصطلحات like when you explore your mind, when you explore a certain vocabulary to transmit the message, it just comes easily.
I think it's also who's your target. كيما أنا
I know my target is
believe
English
everyone.
speakers, yeah.
Well, English speaker, yeah. So when you go for like stuff like what I do, tech and startup ساعات I نقدر by choice نقول باللي I am only interested to people who would understand وش نقول. Usually people like domain, tech people, developers,
Yeah.
like that, they understand this and تقدر تخيل باللي ما يهمكش الناس الاخرين. مي ابري كي دير زعما فيديو تاع وين tu fais ce qu'on appelle de la divulgation, راك تاع vulgarisation pardon, vulgarisation تاع واش كاين، تحاول تشرح حفصه للناس ما تعرفهاش منها، ثم تبدا المجهود في السيناريو في السكريبت، في سيناريو سكريبت بوكو بلوس وين تكتب بالعربيه وين تحاول تفسرها بطريقه باش تفهموها الناس، زعما انت روح انت وفهم الناس شو بلوك تشين ديم بوي يو وود تيك ايجز باش ديرها بالعربيه الدارجه. اي اند اي ثينك هذا تحدي. انا الفيديو الاولين تاعي كانوا فيديو انا
Do you prepare them?
of course I mean like ساعات ما استخدمت البرومبتور that's something I should not say، استخدمتها مره ولا زوج like people اللي يقدروا يشوفوا الفيديو تاع تيك اب شانل كان واحده وين باينه it was so
prompteur. شو prompteur؟
واش عيطوا وين تقدر تقرا كيما
كيما تاع البريزيدنت.
فوالا كيما ثانك يو فور ذا انا قلت جورناليست قلت بريزيدنت اتس جود ثانكس.
كان شفتها بزاف بريزيدنت yeah even journalists they use that
too.
You have that? That's really cool man.
يا من كانوا له اسمه تحط التليفون كان ابليكاسيون تجوزها وما يمشوا بالسرعه تاعك تقرا. انا عانيت باسكو
Hello everyone
لازم تكون له مي وراها تعب هذاك السكريبت باسكو لازم تعرف كيفاش توصل الفكره. انا علاش توز شويه ايزيور باسكو ماي فيرست فيديوز كانوا دي روتور ديكسبيريونس على ماي ترافلز ان تك ايفنتس ويب ساميت تك كرانش ستاف لايك ذات سو ات واز ايزيور انك تحكي عفسه كو انك تفسر عفسه. So that's why I was trying to make things easier باسكو راك تحكي قال شفت هذاك لقيت كذا كنت نمشي لقيت كذا من هنا people would
That's so
get
true.
that's the way I started the videos and it was interesting. It was interesting more than زعما درت بعد unboxing ثاني well it's special باسكو voilà people would love to know more about what you are unboxing. The AirPods Pro something I love. People they don't like me because of that. I'm kidding. People who love Apple products like the AirPods. People who don't وعلى كل حال
AirPods.
The AirPods Pro the you know طق the AirPods yes.
صح a lot of people complain about that. They think it's كيف نقولوا it's bad for the brain.
No, it's not about that. We're talking about the life. I never talked about that.
So you know about that.
I do, but I don't
the
think
waves هكذا.
well, that's a huge debate. And, I was trying to talk about the lifestyle of the thing, not necessarily the quality of it, because what's more interesting in Apple products is not only the like the quality إنما how you use them. تفتحها تحط وحدة تمشي الموسيقى تنحيها وحدة تحبس like these things, and you can check the video on Take Up channel if you want to know more about this. So the storytelling تحكي حاجة كما قلنا it's easier
it's
than
so much easier, yeah.
especially when it comes to like concepts اللي شوية complicated. أروح أنت فهمهم كيفاش يمشي
ما
machine
الناس
learning.
يتبعوا أكثر. ما الناس
يحبوا زعما يتبعوا stories. يحبوا and that's very interesting.
I love that.
You need to like raconter ça بطريقة مليحة. You need to tell this in a very exciting way, and people would get interested in that. And I think it was a good start. And بصح مازال like مشوار طويل باش to get this better, to try to storytell in a better way.
I think that's not only that's not كيف نقولوا valid only in the tech world بصح in concepts in general. Like for example
totally agree.
For example let's say زعما برانسيب الكرم for example ولا ما تطمعش for example ما تطمعش
go to stuff شويه more technical. par exemple je sais pas انا la nutrition زعما علاش تاكل هذه ما تاكلش هذه كيفاش دير ريجيم كيفاش ما ديرش ريجيم.
نو دقيقه ما بس انا جاتني انا حكينا حاجه في راسي instead of for example talking about هذا الشغل برانسيب تقول بلي هذه مليحه وهكذا 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 وهكذا. for example اني شافي كي كنا صغار I used to watch واحد شغل كرتون موفي شغل انيميشن هكذا ماشي انيميشن no it's like a movie it's like a series هذا بصح بالعربيه وتكون على حكايات وكل خطره كاين حكايه زعما خطره سندباد علي بابا وعفايه هكذا بزاف وبعد دائما شغل كاين استوار واحد كان يخدم وبعد له خطره في الغابه لقى الكنز وبعد كي زعما كي دا هذاك الكنز ولا مرفه وبعد ما ولا he started treating his family very bad. ومن بعد لبسك علاش حس روحه خلاص دوكا ولا ومن بعد مع الاخر تقلبت عليه الدنيا ومن بعد مع الاخر زعما for example there is نقولوا حكمه شو conclusion there is عبره for example something that you learn like a lesson out of this
une morale.
Exactly. So that like شغل شوف كيفاش داروها and that was amazing. The series was amazing. يعني instead of doing a lecture واحد يبدا يحكي لهم لا وهايديك علاش ولا علاش انت دير استوار بعد معلق انت وحدك شغل راك تاناليزي علاش صارت لهذاك الانسان علاش صارت له هكذاك شغل عليه خلصت عليه هكذاك خلصت عليه باسكو I love this. أنا نكره كي تكون نحس بلي life is just a random events اللي يصيروا هكذاك برك. نحس عبالي بلي it's not 100% it cannot be 100% controlled. بصح I know that sometimes how we act, what we do, what we study, how we behave, those things kind of predict the outcomes of our lives. راح شغل يحددوا لنا احنا كيف راح نكبروا كيف راح تخلص علينا كيفاش other people will treat us. And so I really love that. And how did they do that? Through storytelling. يحكي لك ستوري وانت في راسك شغل افهمها. فهم وشنو الميساج اللي راح يوصله لك.
I would say بلي في كلمة واحدة لا بيداغوجي. البيداغوجيا تاع كيفاش تعلم باسكو الهدف تاع هذا الشيء انك تخبر الناس. Exactly. When it comes to stuff like that, usually not only for kids, بصح usually we talk this about when it comes to kids because they are the ones who get bored very easily when it comes شوية serious. So we need to be to work more on the storytelling things, and I think we should do this in our educational system باش les étudiants ولا الطلبه لي زيليف يكونوا اكثر اتاشمون
with adults it's the same thing برك الكونسبت العباره تكون حاجه واحده اخرى for example تكون advanced for example زعما weight loss تقدر تكون about success story about not giving up things like that.
And usually I'm not very interested in things like that. لأن يهمني حاجة باينة حاجة شو الباينة قال نفسلكش معناها AI نفسلكش معناها كذا نفسلك مش غير في الضمان تاعك بالعكس there are many things in economy
تحب واحد يكون straight forward
تفهموش معناها par exemple واش يسموها لي تاكس كيفاش يمشي كيفاش تخدم لي تاكس كيفاش تحل شركة لازم تعرف كيفاش تحسب لي يرجع EBS من هذه الأمورات كاملة كيما قلت انت ديرها في example شباب يكون مليح and people would get how things work ولا في other stuff when it comes to like engineering ولا technical stuff when you build things etc. When you want to educate people and I focus more on the knowledge اللي هتستخدمه for the future like شوية capitalism فاهم so I don't think believe people like should there are people who do that and they do that very well good luck for them
right
some people like I identify from people like who want to go straight forward to some stuff that actually matters والآخرين some people يقول بلي لا même spirituality is important spirituality ولا stuff like that like not concrete qui sont pas tangibles then it's interesting I agree, totally agree. So I yet believe this world is run by engineers, is run by people who actually build stuff, and this is the most important things for now for in our lives. You know, engineers they build houses, they build.
You don't think it's
bridges.
run by politicians?
Well, we need that. Because I was having like la diabolisation des hommes de politique, la politique بصفة عامة. Ça veut dire que كنا نشوفوا politique عامة مش مليحة. بصح doing good politics actually matter for helping the society do a lot of things. وهالشيء تشوفها في البوليتيسيان ملاح في العالم كامل في أوروبا في أمريكا etc. في الجزائر we did not like see this بزاف باسكو مش في ناس زعما politicians like doing great things من هنا. C'est pour ça que زعما هنا في الجزائر you will focus more on competent people in specific fields. Politics is a field. بصح كما قلنا اللي bon politiciens هما les gens actually get results and actually make big change. So yes, بكري كنت I did not see this that importantly in an important way. But now I respect that and I think we need good politicians. Not me for now, not at all. I want to do.
You're talking about yourself.
Not for now.
About yourself.
not for now. It might be one day.
Yeah, vote for me in 10 years from now.
20 years.
20
so
years.
you always like open up the things. And for now, I'm not interested at all. What I'm doing is amazing.
You can put me a minister of media. ولا don't put me at all, man. I don't wanna be part.
لا
أعطيني برك freedom.
خلاص ديجا
قال هذا ما تهضرش كامل ما يدير وش يحب.
خلاص أروح عيش ما عليه. A condition you respect the law and order. It's the most important thing to respect the law. And I believe yes, we need to educate more our young people to get into politics the good way. احنا الله غالب عشنا 20 سنه باللي فاتت تعرف وين 20 سنه نتكلم عن الناس اللي شويه قدنا ولا كباينه بشويه وين وين كنا نشوفوا لا بوليتيك كم حاجه مش مليحه دي جون ما يصلحوش منا مني ولا ايفيتيها دير عفسه مليحه وتسمع واحد لا فامي دار بوليتيك تولي ما تحبوش بزاف. I don't think really we should see things this way parce que it's politics like it's very interesting, it's very important, and we need good people there who can actually make changes. Like you know, good people in politics, that's what qu'on appelle la politique électorale, donc les voter عليها الناس, les députés, right, tu vois. Ou là la politique où tu es un membre désigné, un ministre اللي هو اللي يحطك.
And I think that what we need, the type of politicians that we need, especially in Algeria, are the ones who are solution oriented. يعني الناس اللي بس احنا عندنا بزاف لي بروبلم نحوسوا على الناس اللي عندهم دي سوليوشن شغل they're practical solutions. They're not ideal, they're not also
تكنوقراط لي جون. بصح ثاني كاين مشكل اخر. باغ اكزومبل كنت تشوف فرنسا دوكا راهم يعيشوا هذا المشكل اكزاكتلي باسكو they brought كيما قلت انت people تاع لي تكنوقراط يعرفوا العلم بصح ما يعرفوش يديروا بوليتيك and they fail باسكو مهما تكون قوي ما تنساش بلي راك في ايكو سيستم وين كاين دي ديبوتي كاين ناس كذا كاين قوى من منين لازم تعرف تتعامل بوليتيكلي.
It depends if you mean the president or the minister. I know what I mean when I said politicians يعني in general, like the one for example mayor politician. mayor ما يعرفش there's some many of them they don't know how to run things. يعني يقدروا for example لا ما نطلع الفوق كامل من داك ولا غير ماشي لازم تطلع الفوق كامل من داك فتوع في الصغار تلقى بلي they can do stuff man, they really can do they can do a lot of stuff. بس علاش حاجه الاولى ما عندكش ريسبونسابيلتي تاع بلاد. انت for example بلاد زي راهي كبيره تزير انا كان بزاف بلايص تزير جامي سمعت بهم دونك انا عندي ليماج تاعي تاع تزير كيفاش دايره بصح حنا تزير عباب اللي كاين a lot of places في حياتي سمعت بهم ومازال مش الناس كيف عايشين تما صحراء جامي رحت لها and many people didn't go there ما يعرفوش تزير. ايماجين انت شاد هذه بلاد كومبلي عندك a lot of people شو عندك who live in different lot of places with different weather, different needs, and so that's a huge responsibility. And like to be aware of everything, that would need someone
to manage or to govern.
Yeah, exactly. So واحد for example يكون مير بلدية ويعرف البلدية يعرف البلايص يعرف تقدر على الأقل تعرف الويكنسز والstrengths تاع your area باش you attract investors. تعرف strengths تاع the youth اللي عندك التما وش يحبوا بليش هنايا and then I also like if there was like a cooperation between هذو الpoliticians au même temps of people from the private sector.
Yeah, that's the way how to govern. على كل حاجه هذا سان ديبا كبير بزاف وهنا وين نجي زعما كيفاش علاقه كما قلت انت لي زيلو لوكو local officials مع
باش ماشي private sector ماشي دير عليه ليزامبو هذا ما كانش شغل
of course
you create jobs together you شغل
كيما دوكا باغ اكزومبل ريسامون دوبي 2015 نظن في لو غوفرنمون سلال اي ثينك وين زادوا العفسه وين ولات البلديه تقدر تتعامل مع البنك كشركه تدخل تسلف دراهم وتنفيستي منها which is very interesting. ابري جو بونس حبسوها ولا عفسه كيما هكا مي it was a good way for les APC مثلا لي كومون انهم يحركوا شويه روحهم وينفيستيو ويديروا دراهم باسكو صح من حقها تخدم دراهم ماشي البلديه عندها رزق عندها ارض عندها كذا تنفيستي تسلف شويه دراهم تبنيها تدخل بها دراهم etc for the long run. I don't know if they did use this in the good way or not غير شيء هو it was a very good opportunity for them to start building to start يسلفوا to start اسمه of course لازم تكون correct corruption باسكو ما تسهل بزاف etc لازم الانسان يكون فريمون يحب المنطقه نتاعو وهذا الشيء تلقاه بزاف دول في العالم نوتامون in Europe in France وين تلقى المير صح يجي من الشعب ويعرفوا الشعب نتاعو و he cares about الوسمو and he actually makes efforts for his own يعتبر constituent البلاصه اللي راهو إلي فيها وبهذه الطريقه يتطور الناس باسكو صعيبه انك السنترال government in Algiers يتحكم في كل شيء كالنار صعيبة بزاف. So that's why I think we should on doit responsabiliser les gens. Ça veut dire même هنا est-ce que تعرف المير تاع البلاصة اللي راك فيها؟ No. I think so. You should.
I kind of know him somewhat personally.
Okay, that's just un bon début. Mais après, هو ثاني he should like do stuff like يتلاقى مع الممثلين تاع المجتمع المدني من we need to create this اللي حاجة غايبة بزاف في الجزائر depuis des années وين صح نحتاجوا إنه يكونوا الناس يعرفوا les élus locaux نتاعهم when they work together parce que they know their problems very very well. على بالهم يعرف الطريق وين كاين حفرة وين ما كاينش حفرة البروبلم اللي كاين في دار الشباب البروبلم اللي كاين في الهوبيتال etc. ولا في المستوصف الصغير، مستوصف ما قلناش من بكري خلاص. دونك يعرفوا الحوايج هادو، انا اي ثينك بلي they are اولى انهم يجريو هذوك المشاكل كو زعما يتسناو اوردر من كاش بلاصه في الجي. انا اي دونت اجري بلي the government should take care of all the country، ومن يعرفوا مسكين كاش بلديه ولا مدينه في كاش ولايه داخليه صعيب عليه. ولازم انت ثاني لازم تخدم على الوسمو تاعك. اي ثينك بلي اون دوا ريسبونسابيليزي لي جون باش كوم سا they can وحدهم
I like the sentence responsibility.
يا باش يقدروا يكونوا برا على قد المسؤوليه. and بشويه بشويه in 10 years لكن بالك انت نهار تولي بيعنا you become mayor of like of your اسمه and you work on it and people will support you etc. So that's the kind of stability we need and the kind of responsibility that we need.
Yeah, we hope so. Yeah, I think we came to the end of this podcast. As a last thing before we wrap this up, do you have anything else like you want to say?
Well, I would like to thank you for the
Oh man,
opportunity
you're
to talk
welcome. We're
about
gonna
this.
have you again some other time.
Well, I hope so. I think Billy, we need to be able to talk about different stuff كيما هكا. We need
There are
also
a
to
lot
make
of
people.
topics.
Yeah, I totally agree. We
Topics.
talked about technology, and I think Billy, it's interesting.
So we talked about technology.
Yeah.
We talked about technology. We talked about storytelling, and we talked about like social media audience and yeah.
We talked about this because I think that our young people should be more into this type of content, and they must be also trying to prepare their professional life. Because when you are a student, you have some time, etc., and you can do a lot of things. And I would advise all these people to start déjà seeing stuff اللي راه ملاح فيهم. And also because sometimes you are good in some stuff but you are passionate with other things, and I think the perfect thing is to be able to have the same, like you love something and you are actually good at it. So usually it's not exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So you should see like how you should be able to be good at something but I'll actually do things that you are very good in and preserve what you want to do like as a passion. And I believe our young people have the necessary potential to do great things in the future.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. I just want to remind you, if you're watching this on YouTube, I just want to remind you that this podcast is also available on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. So if you want to be driving or going somewhere or jogging while listening to something in audio format in the background, you can do that. Check us out on Spotify and Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. Take care of yourself and have a good night. Bye-bye.